Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today's topic is going to be a fun one. We're going to talk all about fraud and being stolen from. Now, before you think that this is not a topic that you care about or that you're experiencing right now, trust me when I say this is very intuitively timed. There is a reason why I'm bringing up this topic today, so trust me, you are going to want to listen to this. So let's dive into what makes you a match to having fraud or being stolen from in your life. So, as you know, everything that I talk about is the fact that this is an inside out world, meaning everything that we experience outside of us is telling us a story about what's going on inside. Our electromagnetic field is creating every situation, circumstance, and event in our life. Now, fraud and being stolen from is absolutely no different. There is a reason why we would experience something like this. And we're going to dive into the 3 ways that make you a match to this. But before we get there, I want to talk about the reason why this is very timed. And that is, as you can see, fraud has gotten out of control. And with AI, it's going to get even worse. And there's a reason for that. Throughout history and time, you can see how a collective of us will go through something for months on end, and then all of a sudden it stops. And then we go through something else. And it's the same thing. We're all experiencing the same thing. And that is because there's usually a bigger soul lesson that we're all upgrading with. And within that soul lesson, there's kind of branches that go off that cause us to not hit that soul lesson. So when COVID was happening, there was a big soul lesson that was going on. And it was tied to knowing that no one outside of you knows better than you. And that is what everybody was experiencing. And you either listened to people outside of you or you didn't. And based off of that experience and those situations, you either got more reflections or you grew. And that was a collective group upgrade. Now, there's another one happening right now. And as you can tell, over the last few years, that's what's happening. That's why the world has gotten so loud. And the one that we're experiencing now is everyone being able to find their own direction, meaning that they are not waiting for some savior to come help us, that we go, I need to find my way. I need to build my life. And no matter what is going on out there, I'm going to build it and I'm going to go towards it. And no one is going to just save me, because that is the theme that souls are going through right now. So knowing that, there's going to be a bunch of things that branch off that cause a soul to miss this mark. And today's topic is one of those emotional matches that can make you not be a match to this bigger lesson, that can make you not hit this lesson. So if we know that a soul right now is learning that we have to find our own direction, what is fraud and being stolen from stopping us from getting that goal? And it is tied to feeling like you are robbing yourself of the life that you want. So everybody right now needs to fight for their life, but there's actions and things that we are doing to ourselves that are actually robbing us of the life that we want. And if we do those things, the 3 things we're going to talk about, it is actually stopping us from having this life that we want and deserve. And that's not going to bring us to that bigger goal of, I'm going to find my own way and my direction. It's actually going to do the opposite. We're going to miss that mark. So we're going to talk all about the 3 things that make you a match to robbing yourself of the life that you want and deserve. Now, one of them is quite simple, but we do this so subconsciously. And it is pretty much going, I'm stuck with this, so I'm just going to have to deal. Now, even if you say, I don't do that, I'm super spiritual and I do all these tools on myself and I work on myself all the time, trust me, our subconscious has these little sneaky brains that just will settle in a moment without even thinking it. So I'm going to give you an example. So let's say you're in a relationship. You have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, but I'm going to say boyfriend because I'm a girl right now. So you have a boyfriend and this person is not giving you emotional support. Instead of you trying to fix the problem, you go, I'm just stuck with this and I'm just going to have to deal. that is actually robbing yourself of the life that you want. So instead of getting and creating a 10 out of 10 relationship, you're settling with a 6 out of 10. Now, other people in this world will go, a lot of people in the self-help world and spiritual world be like, leave them, you deserve better. Well, the problem is if you leave this person without solving the problem, it just follows. Remember, this is an inside out world. So if your partner is not giving you emotional support and you leave the situation, it only gets louder because it's on your electromagnetic field. You just ignored the signal and now you just moved and it has to get louder. So you will pull in a partner who does it even worse. This is why you'll see in many abusive relationships that the relationships get worse and worse because they just keep leaving the relationship and going to another one without solving the internal healing fix. So with this relationship, lack of emotional support, you leave it, it's just going to get louder. So both of these solutions are not solutions. One, you don't leave the relationship, you heal it inside and then decide if you want to leave. Two, you don't go, I just have to deal with this. So you may ask, what do you do then? Well, you sit there and say, I know I create everything. So I'm lacking emotional support from my partner, which means somewhere in my life, I'm not giving myself emotional support. It's one of the 8 areas. If you find that area and you start to feed yourself that emotional support, it goes on your electromagnetic field, and then your relationship, that person starts doing it. Now you just upgraded your life from a 6 out of 10 to an 8 out of 10 relationship. You are now no longer robbing yourself of the relationship you deserve and that you want because you just said, I have to deal. I promise you this, you never have to deal with anything. You can get a 10 out of 10 in every scenario of your life. You just have to figure out the recipe, the pieces, and embody them, and it will change. But never get to a place of, I just have to deal, whether it's in a job and you're like, well, my boss is just the way he or she is, and I'm just going to have to deal with it. No. But most humans go, no, I'm going to fight for it. I'm going to call HR. I'm going to complain. Again, not the way to heal, not the way to get the life that you want. The other thing is, do not just go, I just have to deal with it. This is just how they are. If you are using that verbiage of this is just how they are, it's just the way that it is, that is never, never the answer because nothing is just the way that it is. It is that way because it's on your electromagnetic field. There's something you are doing to yourself that is causing that thing to happen. And you can change it by changing the variables of how you treat and love yourself. Then that variable will change. So that is the number one thing, not one, but one of 3 that would cause you to rob yourself of the life that you want. We do not settle. We do not say, this is just the way it is. I just have to deal. This is just how the person is. I can't tell you how many times I have clients and I hear situations and stories from people where they just say, oh yeah, everyone sees this person as this. And that's just how they are. No, all those people are a match to having that person treat them that way. And sure, maybe that person is really good at playing out that storyline, but you can be the one of 100 that doesn't happen to. And I promise you, I've done this many times in my life where someone has a certain experience with somebody and I don't. And I've seen it play out time and time again. I've also done it with clients where we've tweaked something and that no longer is the situation in their life. So trust me when I say this, do not ever get to a place of that human thinking of going, this is just how they are, this is just the way it is, because it's never that way. Our life can be a 10 out of 10, and it should be. And you should want to fight for that and never go, this is just the way it is, because my life, I don't look at it that way. To me, it is a magic trip that I am on, and I'm like, let me see what I can create, not this is just the way it is, because that is human, like 2D living, right? So play with that one. Keep that one in mind. The second one is an interesting one. This one can be a bit more subconscious, and this is the one that got me a little tripped up recently. And that is feeling like there is some aspect of you or your life that is taking away something you want. So, for example, let's say you have a goal to have this career and you are doing everything that your intuition says, or you're doing everything how you would normally approach, and that does not feel like it's getting you closer to this goal. It might actually feel like it's taking you farther away from that goal because your life is blowing up and things aren't going well. And you're like, what the heck, higher self? What the heck, source? Like, I am doing everything you're asking me to do. And somehow I don't know how that's going to get me this goal. If anything, it might take it away. If you get into that headspace and you don't see what's the bigger picture of it all, because I promise you, when you get on a soul path, it's going to look weird. And I've said this a million times. You're going to have a goal, and then your higher self and your intuition and source is going to go, cool, do a backwards flip, a cartwheel, tumble down the hill, and go through a snowstorm. And that's going to get you closer to the goal. And you're like, no, that doesn't seem like it's going to at all. And it will. But if we don't understand what is going on, which we might need to use all of the universal laws that we know that I share on this channel, and there'll be more that I share, to get our brain on board with, oh, I see how this gets me there. And it's not taking something away from me. Because what you're pretty much saying is, this thing about me or my life is robbing me of the goal or the life that I want. You saying that is actually now going on your field, which means you are saying, this thing is robbing me of my life, which then you are a match to fraud and being stolen from. And this is why it's so great. I know this is going to blow your mind. Why reflections like this can be so good, because you're never going to want to rob yourself of a life that you want. So being stolen from or having fraud happen, it is going to be a wake up call to get you to go, oh, no, 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 no. Of course, my intuition is not robbing me of this thing that I want. My intuition is bringing me closer. Like, how could I ever think that this thing is taking away this life? And it's going to be so important to flip that to actually get to the goal. So that is the second way you could become a match to fraud or being stolen from. The third one is a really interesting one. This is the one that I learned many years ago, and it really changed the way I actually approached my own growth and how I saw being on this planet for the rest of my life. Talk about a life upgrade. And that is, I got to a place once where I had this goal spiritually to hit. It was a subconscious goal. It wasn't really conscious. But once I hit it, I was like, I'm done. And it was this weird subconscious going, I made it. And usually you would think that making it to a goal means that's great. That's a good thing. But the problem is that actually robs us of a life that we could have. Why? Because it caps us. It gets us to a place of we made it. But we might have made it, but we have like 20,000 other goals that we didn't even think were possible. And just getting to a place of going, I made it. I'm done. Great. You always want to be in a space of going, cool, I hit this goal. What's next? This might be big for the rest of the world, but it's not big for me anymore. So I want to make it bigger. I want to be constantly in a state of growth and expansion, that there is never a time where I'm done. There is never a time where I go, cool, I've made it. And this is why I am so and I'm anti this because source knowledge, retirement is not a good thing. This is where our brains actually start to die. If we're not learning, our brain are dying, which retirement actually gets us closer to dying. We should always be in a state of building and growing and never stopping. Most people, though, the reason why they don't want to or they do retire is because they're not really doing the life that they want to be doing. So they want to stop the thing that they were doing. But to always be in this state of, oh, I'm never going to stop. I'm never going to stop growing. I'm never going to stop learning. I'm never going to get to a mark and go, that's it. You want to get to a mark of going, okay, cool. I hit this. Amazing. But how do I take this even bigger? How do I expand even more? And this is where I was like, I stepped into a world that I didn't even realize that there is, as you know, energy is limitless. There is a limitless ways of expanding your life and making it the most magical life you could possibly have. But that is going, I need to level up constantly. So if you are in a state of spiritual growth where you go, I just want to get to this thing and then I'm going to feel great and then it's going to be good and everything's going to be great and fine. I promise you that is gonna eat you in the butt because you're gonna hit that goal. And then you're gonna subconsciously go, cool, now I can relax. And that is where you're gonna become a match to fraud or being stolen from. And you are gonna wanna change your viewpoint of going, there's never an end. There's never gonna be a break. There's never gonna be this time where I go, oh, I can breathe now. Because I talk about this all the time. People think that I don't have reflections. I have them all the time. The reason why I'm talking about this topic today is because I had a huge fraud thing happen. And I mean huge. And not in a good way. And a way that I don't think the money's coming back. But the difference is it's learning and wiring yourself to be able to handle life to where you have something like that happen and it doesn't throw you. It makes you grow. You are thankful for it. You go, this is a life change. I'm excited for this. That's when you know you've hacked this world because you can actually step into all these tools and become and see everything from a source level, which is perfect. There is nothing wrong. But you have to integrate a bunch of tools to get to that place of understanding that everything is perfect, to have a different reaction to something bad happening. That took me some time. If this happened to me years ago, I probably would have jumped off a cliff, cried in a corner, and said, I gave up. Like, I can't do this. But now the difference is I go, this is an opening. This is a life change for me. This is going to get me closer to my goal. It's my reaction to things that change how I handle life. And that's what makes it easier. And that's what makes it fun. Our life can be so fun and so fulfilling and so magical, but we've got to go where no one else will go. We've got to get reflections to wake us up. We have to risk and we need to make sure we're not playing it too safe. We need to go where it's scary, that there might be a reflection. There might be a big blow up. Thank God there is, because that's the information that's going to bring me closer to my bigger goal. That's where you want to be. You want to go, cool, let's go balls to the wall. Let's see what happens. Let's see what bombs go off. But I'm not stopping. I'm not going to cap myself and go, I made it. So you are going to constantly want to be in a state of feeling like you want to take your life to the next level. It's why my tools and the tools I learn and all of that, it's always like, how can I make this better? When I get to a goal, what goal do I want to set next? It is never a stop. It's never, I'm going to take a break because I'm tired. And you're going to want to change that view now, because I know so many of you that are listening, if you are like me, when you go on a spiritual journey, you just are trying to hit a goal, but really what you're trying to feel is a feeling. And that feeling can come today. And once you get that feeling, you're going to have another feeling that you're going to want to master, and then another one, and then another one. There should never be a stop, and there never will be. So to think that you're going to get to some place where all of a sudden you're going to be at peace, throw that out the window. Get to a place of that everything in your life is fulfilling, and it's constantly fulfilling, and it's constantly making you grow. That's where you want to get to. You want to change your response mechanisms to this is going to be the most fulfilling life change ever. So that is the third thing that will make you a match to having something be stolen from you or being a match to fraud. Now, keep in mind, there are details depending on what is being stolen, what type of fraud. All of those things will have details of exactly what you're stealing from yourself. That's where it's going to get a little bit more specific. Again, it's going to be in one of the 8 areas. But I bring this up because this big group lesson that we're all going through, that we are all having to move through together, there are going to be collective emotional strings that are going on. And as you can see, fraud has gotten a little out of control. Literally, I can't tell you how many emails I get from businesses that say, make sure you're not responding to emails that don't look like us. There's so much fraud happening, yada, yada, yada. It is happening. And it's because we are all sharing this collective conscious brain, and we're all then sharing similar thoughts and emotions. our job to detach from those that the collectiveness are feeling and thinking. And this is the one way you can detach from being a match to fraud or being stolen from, is going, the collective is feeling one of these three things, doing one of these three things. And if I detach from it, I then rise above the collective consciousness, and I'm no longer a match or an alignment to going through this. So we will see this get louder. And that's why I said at the very beginning, and if you stuck around, great job. Even if you're like, this is not what I care to listen to, trust me, we're only going to see this get worse. And it's probably going to be worse for at least another year. So keep these in your back pocket. Check and make sure these three things are not going on. And just know if you are a match to fraud of a $50 charge, because I remember way back in the day, it was like a $50 one, and now it's like thousands of dollars. It doesn't matter. They're the same. So do not ignore if you have just a $5 fraud or someone bought one thing on your card. It doesn't matter. It's a warning. And no matter how small or big it is trying to tell you on your electromagnetic field, one of these three things are going on. And if we don't shift and remove this, we're not going to hit that bigger goal of going, I'm going to find my own direction and I'm going to go towards it. I don't care what's going on. I don't care if my boyfriend doesn't give me this. I'm going to figure out how to insert this. I'm going to figure out how to embody this. So that happens. All of these things that we talked about, you can change. You can wave your magic wand, shift something inside, get it on your electromagnetic field, and get that thing outside of you to stop happening. So play with this. Let me know how it is. Leave some comments below, because I'm dying to know either your stories or your thoughts on this. Because like I said, this is going to be a thing that's going on for the next year minimum. And like I said, I think AI is going to make it go even worse. And that's what I mean by humans ignoring the message. Well, guess what? In comes AI. We're going to make it worse. We're going to make it loud. And now you're not going to be able to ignore this. So play with this. Have fun. Let me know how it is. It's so nice to see you guys again. Thanks for joining me. Thank you so much for joining. It means the absolute world to me. My goal is to reach as many people as I possibly can, and I cannot do this without you. So please like, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, share this with anyone you feel like it would resonate with. Again, I cannot do this without you, so thank you.